Here I am. Hey, Mike. Happy New
Hey,
Year.
Gus. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Mark. Hey, Nick.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Pete.
You might have your blocker over your camera. Your privacy shield, whatever you call the little thing you slide over in front of it.
I did.
There you
Thank
are.
you. Man, can I call you when I have other technical problems?
No, that's about the extent of what I can do. I've
I got that in an MMA meeting, actually. I had looked at them and wondered what they were and realized and liked them.
yeah, I've got one on my my office camera and occasionally do exactly what you did. And although nobody really ever complains or tells me to change it, so they might prefer it. All right, well, it's 7 o'clock. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Legislature's extension of Governor Baker's orders originally issued on March 12th, 2020 and March 15th, 2020, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and placing limitations on the number of people who can gather in any one place, respectively. This meeting is being held via remote participation and no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted. However, every effort has been made to ensure that members of the public who wish to access the proceedings while in progress may do so. As a reminder, anyone wishing to access this meeting while in progress may do so by following the instructions posted on the meeting notice. Because this is a remote meeting, all votes will be by roll call votes. I will also note that this meeting is being recorded, and at the conclusion of the regular meeting, we will go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, or lease of or value of real property, and the open session will not resume the conclusion of the executive session. And we'll begin by taking a moment of appreciation for our troops serving around the globe in defense of our country. Thank you. All right, due to some changes and events outside of our control, several of our agenda items have been postponed, hopefully to our next.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, before you go on, you need to identify everybody participating remotely.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. This is Mike Marcucci. I am participating in this meeting remotely.
This is Gus Murby, also participating remotely.
Osler Peterson participating remotely.
Do we not have to identify the rest of you participating remotely? There are other people here. We're not sure who they are. We're not sure if they're participating remotely or not, but we see them on the Zoom. So maybe we'll hear from everybody later. Okay. The action item is Gene Minio from the Cultural Alliance of Medfield has requested I sign a letter of support for a grant from the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism for marketing support and a letter of support for a grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council Cultural Facilities Fund. The draft letters were in our agenda packet. Peter, Gus, any comments or concerns on the content or existence of the letter?
I'm fine with the letter.
Oh, Gus is on mute. My second, he's still on mute.
You have to find your cursor when you're using two screens in order to come off mute. I thought both letters were fine.
Okay. All right, then do we have a motion to authorize me to sign the two requested letters of support?
I move that we authorize the chair to sign the two requested letters of support from CAM, one to the Mass Office of Travel and Tourism, and the other one to the, what was the other one?
The Massachusetts Cultural Council Cultural Facilities Fund.
Yeah, I guess there was only one. I know one of them came in the other way. That's why I thought it was in the packet. So yes, it's say that again, Mike, please.
The Massachusetts Cultural Council Cultural Facilities Fund.
The Massachusetts Cultural Council.
Second.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Murby.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So I will come by and sign those letters tomorrow, Christine.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have a request to vote to adopt the Board of Selectmen vendor warrant policy, which we reviewed at our last meeting. I know, Christine, you recommended one change to what we had discussed the last time.
We're going to have all three of you sign. When you don't have a meeting and you can't be here in person, we're going to have all three of you remotely sign.
Okay.
And if you approve this evening, you will receive an email shortly for your first signatures.
Terrific. Any questions, comments? Pete?
No, I think this is fine.
Gus?
Nope, I thought Christine's recommendation was fine.
Same here. So do we have a motion, Gus?
I move that we approve the vendor warrant and payroll warrant policy.
Second,
Mr. Peterson?
yes.
Mr. Murby?
Aye.
And Mr. Marcucci, I also vote aye. All right, next, request to authorize me to sign the Tree City application. Any questions, comments, discussions on this one? Hearing none, do we have a motion, Gus?
I move that we authorize the chair to sign the Tree City application.
Second,
Mr. Peterson,
yes.
Mr. Murby,
Yes.
and Mr. Marcucci, yes. All right, next. Meeting minutes, March 23rd, 2021, October 19th, 2021. Have you guys had a chance to look at them yet?
I have not, I'm afraid. I
did.
apologize.
Yeah, and I'm the same thing. And I should have had, it didn't click that I needed to do that. So,
Okay. Well, why don't I'll resend them out to you and give you a little reminder.
Thank
Okay.
you.
if you want, you
Appreciate
can just send the reminder. At least I've got them. I have them. It's just that because some of the inputs were coming from different channels today, I just wasn't paying enough attention.
Okay. And just, I noted a couple of people joined the meeting after the beginning. And just by their names, I'm guessing they may not have been that interested in the Selectmen vendor warrant policy. We did have a couple of items on the agenda for the solar, the town garage, and then the emergency repair for the roof at the Dale Street School, both of which are going to be postponed to our next meeting. So to the extent that you're here and wondering why we're not covering those items, they're going to be deferred until the 18th of January. All right. Any updates from the town administrator?
I have just a couple updates. Just left a Board of Health meeting. They have agreed to adopt the mask advisory that the governor put in on December 21st. It is just an advisory for indoor public spaces. We are investigating, the state is now allowing towns to make direct purchases of rapid COVID tests. So we are looking into purchasing those to have those on hand as well. We'll keep you updated. I always laugh when they offer these programs and then have to have a webinar to actually walk you through the logistics. So fascinating. We'll go to the webinar and then determine how and when we're going to buy them, but they would be funded obviously through our ARPA money that we received. And then the only other thing is just a reminder for the three of you that the warrant is closing at the end of the month. So if we have any warrant articles you'd like for discussion or inclusion in the warrant, just give me a heads up.
Okay.
This evening. Happy
All
New
right.
Year.
Thank you. Any selectman report, Pete?
So I've moved my operation of my business, my law practice, back to Deb's office in Medfield, which allowed me to go to the post office today. And I bumped into two people and had discussion with them about town business, which actually turned out to be very interesting for me because I got brought up to date. I bumped into Rob Gregg and discussed with him the fact that the Vine Lake Preservation Trust is going out of business and apparently turning over their monies to Christine and the town. And he was turning in his post office key to the post office box that they had. I told him I was sorry to not get any more of the email newsletters that I made the cemetery. I thought so interesting. I was actually very surprised at how interested I became in the cemetery through his Vine Lake Preservation Trust email newsletters. But he's actually adopted a new job of trying to preserve the Peak House and make it more interesting and make it more interactive. I guess they're trying to create some exhibits there, and so that they were one of the recipients of the Medfield Foundation Legacy Fund grants last month, and so they're using that money to stabilize the place and to do some digs and to get some archaeological pieces that they will then have on display. I also bumped into Suzanne Sino and talked to her about the status of her efforts to develop a group home in town. She told me she's working very closely with Newton Thompson, and I encouraged her to continue that. I explained to her what I knew about my discussions with Riverside Community Care several years ago when I spoke with them about trying to locate a group home in Medfield, and there was a price gap between what it cost to buy the house in Medfield. There was one that was for sale for $500,000, a ranch house that would have been very suitable, but they needed about $100,000 of subsidy to make it work financially, to make it fit with the cost that not the vendors, but the government entities were providing to support the people that were going to be in the group home. So that's the sort of thing. At that time, we didn't have the monies from the Affordable Housing Trust, but we do now, so that we can do that sort of a reach and help people to create a group home. She said that there are actually, I think, discussions about a group home as part of the Medfield Housing Authority project on Tilden, at the Tilden site, and also up at the state hospital. So that was good to hear. And that's it.
Thank you, Pete. Gus?
Not too much. I make the observation. I got to go to the Patriots Jaguars game on Sunday, which was fun. But because of that, I was on the road walking over to the barn next door early in the morning, and I was impressed to see that Troop 89 already had a trailer full of Christmas trees. They must have started really early to have filled the trailer as early as I saw them go whizzing by me. So it sounds like that effort is off and running. The only other thing, and Nick, you may want to add stuff here, but the Community Choice Aggregation Committee had asked me just to put a reminder out in this meeting that the open comment period for the Community Choice Aggregation Draft Plan has been open for a couple of weeks, and that we had, just to make sure people are aware, we'll be holding a public hearing at our next meeting on the 18th. So people are encouraged, either if they have questions or comments, to either submit them between now and then, or they'll have an opportunity to speak live during that public hearing on the 18th. So,
Mr. Chair, could I add
if you want to comment on Pete?
I was going to just ask the chair if I could add a couple more things that I didn't report on that I should have.
Well, I guess we'll allow it this one time.
Thank you. Good thing you're not going to be around after a while. I can screw up again. Tom Cap has had a couple of meetings. Town of Medfield Climate Action Plan. It's the group that's writing the how to get to net zero by 2050 for the town. I've had a couple meetings with them, and they have a survey. I'll put it up on my blog, and if people want to weigh in on how to get to the net zero by 2050, take the survey, please. And then the other thing I would just, following up on what Gus said, I don't know if we reported on this previously, but Troop 89 saw apparently that someone had dumped trash at the Holmquist property by the community gardens, and they took it upon themselves to go down there and clean it up. Just a wonderful community thing that they did. So that's it.
All right. Thank you, Pete. I don't think I have anything. We do have a collective bargaining session tomorrow with the police union. So that would be our first one of those. As noted again, for anyone who joined late, we deferred the items on the town garage, solar, and the Dale Street roof until our next meeting. Our only informational item, as Gus noted, is the public comment period through January 18th, 2022. And as noted at the outset of the meeting, when this meeting concludes, presumably in a short moment, we'll be going into executive session and will not be resuming afterwards. Well, question from Bob Winograd. Would you please mention that the Medfield Electric, I'm assuming he's talking about the Medfield Municipal Aggregation Plan public comment period through January 8th, 2022. Bob, if there's something else you wanted us to mention.
The plan is available in hard copy here at the library. There's a link on the town website to access it, but the plan website is electricity.medfield.net.
electricity.medfield.net. All right, so that's if you want to check out that plan and make any comments prior to the hearing on the 18th. Of course, you're welcome on the 18th of the public hearing, which hopefully will be in person that day. So it looks like Bob says thank you. And so that's what he's looking for. And if that's it, I think we need a motion to go into executive session. And well, I will start. I'm sorry that I apologize. We're out of order here. Jeff Hyman has a question. Has Medfield met the 4 required standards in order to receive recognition as a tree city? Christine, do you want to address this? I think the answer is yes. And that we have been for the past 5 years, but do you want to address the question in the comment?
I'm just reading his comments right now. Yes, this will be our 9th application to be a tree city. We do have a tree ordinance that's been established, and we do meet the annual budget. We actually exceed it, and we have not set a date in 2022 yet. There are a couple of different options that we are looking at for that.
Great, thank you. All right, so I'm going to declare that we need to discuss the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and do so in executive session, because to do so in public session would be harmful to the interests of the town in doing so. Mark, anything else I need to declare on that front?
No,
Sufficient declaration? Okay, if I could have the clerk make a motion then?
I move that the Medfield Board of Selectmen go into executive session for the following purpose: to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, and the chair has so declared, and that the open session will not reconvene at the conclusion of the executive session.
All right, roll call vote. Peterson.
I'll second that and vote yes. I'll also note that this is probably the shortest meeting I think I may have ever been to as a selectman.
Congratulations to us, I guess.
Starting a new year with a new trend.
Yeah. Murby.
Aye.
And Marcucci, aye. All right, folks, we'll see you in the executive session. Thanks to those who joined us
So
tonight.
a question, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
The executive session isn't scheduled to meet till 7:30, noticed to meet till 7:30. Can we go there directly or not?
I will start it just after this ends.
Yeah.
So
It was noticed for 7. I think it's just the invite is 7:30,
Oh, all right.
but the
Yeah.
notice is 7. So
Because we
Thank
could
you.
ask Pete to tell us a joke, because he has some
Well,
rather
that's what I
lengthy
was-
jokes that
I
can fill in
know.
the gap.
I was thinking that I might need to fill in some time, Gus, yes.
I was sort of hoping, but okay, I guess